I want to welcome you all here. And if you are new here to our Catalyst gathering, we meet here once a month, the first Thursday in every month. And what this is just like kind of what I pray. These are just leaders, influencers from all over our city coming together because we believe we are better together than if we're alone. If we stay in our office in our own little corner of the city alone, we're an island. But when we all come together like this, we're a powerful force in this city. And that's what's been happening here for years now when we've been meeting like this. On your table, there is a sign-in sheet. If you could take this sign-in sheet and just pass around the table and fill this in. We want to know that you're here. And we want to, just keep you up to date, kind of what's going on. And if you have a big event going on, if you have something coming up, let us know. We're here to champion you. That's why we're here, to let our community know about something that you're doing that you want to get the word out on. Last month, I heard was incredible here in this room. Anybody here last month? Yeah, our church was just amazing. Dave was here talking about neighborhoods and being a great neighbor. We had over 130 views on our YouTube page watching last month. And so if you weren't here, if you haven't seen it, man, go to our YouTube page and watch it. I watched it. It was really, really inspiring. And the reason why I wasn't here last month, because I was busy bringing this little guy into the world here. Well, actually, I wasn't. My wife was. So it was just a few hours before Catalyst, and I asked my wife, hey, I got to go to Catalyst, She's like, you're staying here with me in the hospital. We're not going anywhere. But I tell you what, and most of you in this room here know this, there's nothing like seeing the birth of your baby. There's nothing in the world compares to that. And to be a dad to this little guy, although, nothing like not sleeping and kind of getting sick of that thing part of it. But the other parts are pretty amazing here. It's not an easy thing to be a parent, is it? Last month, about 2 weeks ago, we had this parenting seminar that we put on mainly for foster care and adoptive parents. And but it was certainly all kinds of people came. It was incredible. We had over 300 adults that showed up, over 200 kids that came, and were so encouraged. It was just the most beautiful, example of collaboration with our county. Our county promoted this like crazy. They even paid for people to come. With all the family agencies, the family, adoptive and foster care agencies, just everybody kind of working together to help us parent, because it's hard. It's so hard. But it was such an encouraging and inspiring day. One thing I've learned, what I'm learning, is about most cities. In most cities, you've got 10% of people who really don't like their city, who are cranky, who are annoying, who are they're negative. Anybody know those people in Modesto? Yeah, we have them. But they're minority, but they're really vocal. But they're very much a minority. Then you'll have this other 10% who love their city, who are contributing to their city, who are getting involved in their city. And no doubt, I'm looking at you guys here in this room, and that are just so positive for a community. Then you got your 80% in between. Good people, but are mostly neutral about their city, who are maybe overwhelmed with life, overwhelmed with family, or just more entertained by other things than the vision of, hey, I'm here to help my neighborhood to be better. I'm here to help my city to be better, to get involved and to give back what's been given to me. The challenge that we all have before us, who cares about that first 10%? Go to another town. We're not going to win them over, right? But that 80%, the challenge we have, how do we inspire and mobilize that 80% to get involved with each of our visions, that we're doing? One idea that we came up with a few years ago was this idea of a community-wide volunteer day, a day where we can get as many people as we can in this community to go out and make a difference in practical ways, in ways that maybe they would love to do, that they could feel like they could be a part of, but also ways that are helping all of you. And so coming up, as you know, you've been seeing signs everywhere, and just a month yesterday, okay, so April 5th is our big Love Modesto Day. And a lot of you are projects, okay? And if you're not one of our projects, come see me, and we'll put you on this list. On your table, there's these flyers, and we'll add you to the list of projects that are on there. There's even some more projects that aren't even on there yet. We got to keep updating this thing. But, man, we're just really excited about this day and what this has meant for our community and what it's going to mean on April 5th as well, because it's going to be, seriously, an unforgettable day. But again, the point is not the day. The point is all the sustainable, the strategies and things that come after that day is continual volunteerism, continual pride in our city. Here's how you can help me. We're 1 month out, okay? Let's get the word out on this thing. Facebook and Twitter, we've got yard signs in the back. If you need more flyers, together, let's see how many people we can get out to love our city and to inspire that 80%. And maybe we'll even touch some of that first 10% too, a little bit too. That'd be really cool if we can get them to get on board. Hey, I'm excited this morning to have the new CEO of Community Hospice here with us. Deshay, come on up here. Deshay McLeod is our brand new CEO of Community Hospice. You're going to hear her accent here. She is not a native Modestoan, okay? But, so, McShay, share with us, what is Community Hospice, and tell us about what all that you do in our community.
We do a number of things, and first of all, thank you, Jeff, and good morning, everyone. I have a pleasure. It is my pleasure to be with you, and yes, don't you hear that accent? So, I am from the South. I'm from South Mississippi. I've been in Modesto about 7-8 months. Really, really love the city. Yeah, I'm most surprised as to how quickly I've grown to love this city. So it's my home and it's my community. I was back in the South last weekend, and on Sunday I said, I just cannot wait to get home. And it surprised me. I stopped and I listened, and I thought, Modesto is my home now. So, thank you for welcoming me to your community. Community Hospice, we are end-of-life care. And, of course, everybody hears that word hospice, and they're just like, oh, my gosh, that's a black word. Nobody wants to say anything about hospice. To me, it's my ministry. It is our organization's mission that we take care of patients and their families at a very difficult time in their life when they have some type of life-limiting illness. Those diagnoses run. We have stroke patients. We have, it's not just cancer patients. ALS might be liver disease, lung disease, heart disease as well. We care for thousands of patients every year in their homes, in hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, in assisted living facilities, and of course at our Alexander Cohen Hospice House. It's a 16-bed inpatient unit for those that we cannot manage their symptoms in the home. But most people, at the end of their life, they want to be in their own home. That's where their family, surrounded by their family, and so that is our mission in order to keep them there. Not only do we provide hospice services and care, we really are an outreach into this community through educational opportunities. We always have some type of event going on. Next week, we have a bioethics dinner for anyone that would like a very, very interesting topic. We have a well-renowned speaker coming from the Bay Area. So please look us up on the website. We also have a program called Caregiver College, and we run these programs every month. They are free. Come join us for lunch. Won't cost you a penny. Last month, we had advanced directives presented by an attorney, local attorney, just helping give information to different caregivers, just all different sorts of events. Those are all on our website as well. Our bereavement, we do grief support, not only for family members that have had a patient on our services, but anyone that has had a loss in their family. So you do not have to have a family member that has passed away on our services. Please call us, reach out to us. We do one-on-one grief support counseling. We have grief support groups going all the time. We have grief support programs going on all the time, workshops toward the holidays. Then we also have our thrift stores. And we have 6 thrift stores throughout the area, from Manteca through Modesto as well. And so if you've got anything that you're cleaning out, and spring's almost here, a lot of us are doing spring cleaning. So please, we would love to have those donations, but then also shop with us. Always something going on there. So let me see, have I left out anything? We're a very busy organization. And I think that's it. Oh, we do a lot of outreach. We do a huge grief support in 12 schools right now, underserved schools, and we provide grief support to children's. We have a teens and a tweens, Hugs and Tweens program that covers 2 different age groups. And we're expanding those services this year because we'll be providing our very first bereavement camp in August for children. It'll be a weekend camp. So that's about it.
How many of you have benefited from hospice, maybe you and your family? Wow. I think we would all agree we are blessed in this community to have this organization because it is hard. End of life is hard. And so thank you for for being here. Thank you for not here, but as well as thank you for being in this community. And I was going to ask you how we can help you, how you can help us, but I think you kind of shared how we're helping each other here in this community together. So,
I do want to say just very quickly is that if you have volunteered in any type of way for our organization in any capacity, whether you're making phone calls or you're working out at the house, I want to thank you for taking time from your very busy schedules, because we're all very busy in what we're doing every day. Thank you for continuing to volunteer and support community hospice. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
all right. Thank you so much, Deshay. Very good. My wife is a hospice volunteer on sabbatical right now, and she says there's just nothing like, helping people and being, having the opportunity through hospice to do that. So that is really great. Hey, let's do this for a couple minutes. At our tables, introduce yourself if you haven't done that yet. Maybe share a little bit about where you work or where you volunteer. And then I want you to ask each other this question. What do you love about collaborating with others here in this community? What do you love about doing that? So take a couple minutes at your tables. We're doing good, right? Yeah, we're right on time.
About 30 more seconds. And time. Just to see if that was going to work. It didn't work. Hey, guys. My name's John. I'm already nervous, so now you guys just made me really nervous. So I appreciate that a lot. Thanks a lot, Ken, for that. That was ridiculous. Anyways, my name's John Torres, and I'm the City Life Director of Tapestry at YFC. And, yeah, so that's my introduction. Before I introduce our wonderful speaker, Jeff, I just wanted to talk a little bit about some housekeeping stuff, I guess. There's going to be a workshop that Catalyst is doing, partnering with Stanislaus Community Foundation, called Connecting for Good. Marvin will be in the back with some of these flyers, or right there. His friend Marianne is here. She'll be in the back with him, apparently. And so they'll be handing out flyers about, I think it's on April 17th, yeah. And so you can get some more information from him. Sorry, I got notes. All right, before I introduce our speaker, his name is Jeff Kreiser, and he's a fellow Modestoian, and he is the director of the Acts Group in Sacramento. And so if you could help me welcome him to the stage, I'd appreciate it.
You get to keep that one because they wired me up. All right. Yes, it's really great to be back, and it feels like coming home as well. So, Deshay, you have a great new home. It's wonderful. So I lived in Modesto from late 1994 to summer of 2005. So my history in Modesto is longer than my current story in Sacramento. And the great experience here was being able to be a part of a season of cooperation and collaboration in the church in Modesto, in the Church of Modesto during that season. And then also the birth of my three sons, who were all born here, and their early childhood in Modesto, and incredible. So always great to be back, great to be connected in terms of collaborative gospel movement work up and down the Central Valley, and working with Marvin, working with Jeff, and the great things that are going on. As you heard, my name is Jeff Kreiser. I'm the executive director of the Acts Group, and you'll see some slides come up here in a minute just about our organization. ACTS stands for Advancing City Transformation Strategies, and what we are is the organization that was birthed out of a Palau festival that we had up in Sacramento 2 years ago this coming June. And the decision was there needed to be a backbone organization that was created to be able to continue to work on gospel movement issues in the Sacramento region. And with that, a central strategy that we realized in the early development of this, and even through the conversation of getting this organization going, was this issue of collaboration. And at the heart of that is, how do we collaborate with others, you know, without having the anxiety of losing our people? You know, there's so many fears and so many challenges that surround being able to be engaged with a true collaborative in the people around you. So our central strategy, we have 5 strategies that we feel like continue to move gospel movement forward in our region. One of them you heard about last month from Dave Runyon through the Love Our Neighbors initiative, both through service and sharing the gospel. But our central strategy, the central strategy that strengthens the gospel movement and allows it to continue to go forward, is connecting leading believers in collaborative relationships. That's our central strategy, connecting leading believers in collaborative relationships. And that happens within spheres of operation. So if you're nonprofits working with other nonprofits, or churches working with other churches, or businesses working together with other businesses like a chamber of commerce. But it also means cross-sector collaboration. How do leaders in these different spheres of influence and authority in our city cooperate, and collaborate together. So what we want to talk about this morning on our subject is how do we move forward in these collaborative relationships with strength? How do we form those collaboratives? How do we deal with our own internal angst or anxiety that relates to maybe really seeing the maximum impact of a collaborative relationship? So let's start by looking at what is collaboration. What is collaboration? And this is actually the Jeff Kreiser authorized definition. So I didn't even Wikipedia this. I didn't look up in some dictionary online. I'm just saying, like, what is collaboration? I was just praying and saying, God, will you just, show me what to say, what has been my experience. And so it really begins with people coming to the conclusion that they can't do it by themselves. Whatever it is for you, you come to a core conviction of saying, I can't do this by myself. And the it, you can fill in the blank for whatever you're aspiring to or going after. Then, purposefully making time to be together. And we'll talk a lot about that in the next few minutes, talking about what it means to be together, to build relationship with each other where trust can grow and work can get done in an effective and Christ-like way. When you're spending that time together, you are there to connect, care, cooperate, and co-labor toward a common goal. All right, so let's put that all together. People coming to the conclusion that they can't do it by themselves, purposefully making time to be together, to connect, care, cooperate, and co-labor toward a common goal. Everybody with me? Okay. So where do we need to start? I think we need to start with Jesus. This is what Jesus envisioned and modeled. Think of this with me for a moment. All of you here who know Jesus and have Christ at the center of your life, Christ at the center of your household, Christ at the center of your work, whatever that work is. For those of you who might be here today and are being refreshed in your faith or got dragged here by someone who said this is a good place to go, well, listen in, because this is at the very heart of what Jesus' life was about. Because Jesus was the only one who ever lived who could have gone it alone. Do you agree with me? All right. So I am an old preacher, so you can even say amen to that kind of a thing. So Jesus is the only one who could have gone it alone. All right. But he didn't. He didn't. And if we look at this clearly, I think that it's because Jesus already knew about the ultimate relationship, the ultimate connection, care, cooperative, collaborative in all the universe, which is our God who created the universe. Jesus existed in perfect relationship with the Father and the Spirit. We see this even as he launched his work on the earth at his baptism. When Jesus was baptized, the Holy Spirit came upon him as a dove, and they heard a voice from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased." This core loving relationship, God himself, who created us to live in a relationship with him, came to live on the earth fully himself, fully complete in everything of who he was. But on the other side of that baptism, on the other side of that temptation in the wilderness, if you know the Jesus story, what did Jesus do? He began to call people to himself, to form a collaborative, to form that first collaborative, disciples to care and connect and cooperate and co-labor together. He said, "Be with me, see how it's done. Let me teach you how to relate with each other." The one new command that he gave, love one another. Love one another as I have loved you. At the heart of it, love and care and concern for one another. But you are going to labor together. Luke chapter 10, he sends them out 2 by 2 into the harvest. The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Pray to the Father, pray to the Lord of the harvest to send workers into his harvest. And so he sends them out 2 by 2 to get some experience and bring back a report. Later on in Luke, he sends out the 72, and they bring back a report. And he was just preparing them to be that collaborative that was going to be what we now call church, that would carry forth the gospel of the kingdom to the ends of the earth. Everybody with me? So for all of us who share a common commitment to Christ, collaboration is a non-negotiable. Collaboration is the way that Christ lived it, modeled it, and showed us how it's done. So we have to find a way to get over our anxiety, to get over our concern, to get over our fears, to get over the pain and the hurt from people who've burned us in the past when we've tried to work with them, and to give the people who are new in our life an opportunity. And it's about relationships. And one of our axioms that we use a lot in Sacramento is that relationships will continue to move at the speed of trust. I have some friends here who were part of church with me when I was here in Modesto. And I learned so much during that time about the value of trust, the value of loving people and becoming a reliable, consistent person so that trust could be built and to steward that trust. And when I started a position at a church in Sacramento, it was a really interesting time because my predecessor had kind of been a very dominant force, very much a driver, very much a person who wasn't really well schooled in relational skills, but knew how to get things done. And so there were kind of a lot of burned people and burned bridges about this person, and this person was attached to this position that I was entering into. And so when I came into that position, I inherited that view of that person. Here's another person in that position. We know the previous person in that position was difficult to work with, was a solo flyer, did not help us get the overall work done, and that's why he's not here anymore. And so what's this guy going to do? Have you ever been in a situation like that? So I came in not at zero for a lot of the staff there, but at a negative. Didn't matter who I was, how I was going to operate. What my previous experience was, I was at a negative. And something I learned about trust in that environment was this. There are going to be people in your life who give you trust right away. Some of you here are people who go, nice to meet you. I trust you until you break my trust. Some of you are trust givers, and may the Lord bless you to continue in that. You give someone their trust, and they have to take care of it and build upon the trust that you give them. But there are many people in our lives, especially as we work beyond Christ-following co-laborers, okay, that we're going to find that there are people who don't give you trust. You earn that trust, and sometimes it's extremely hard-earned. And then you keep that trust. Relationships move at the speed of trust, and it takes time to build. Trust is built through love and consistency and reliability. And when we talk about a collaboration, and when we're getting to a few points on the how here in a moment, it has to begin with you and how you are going to approach people and how you welcome people into your life. And I want to say this. If it takes you less than 3 years, you're going faster than Jesus did. It took him time as he brought together this collaborative called the disciples to work together for the ultimate goal of the gospel going to all the earth. And even in that 3 years, there were some, it said, as they saw his resurrected self, who doubted. Trust takes time, and it'll move at the speed of trust. But we have to go after it, just as Jesus did. So how do we do that? How do we collaborate with others? I want to challenge you to start with you. The personal value that you have in yourself and that you bring to a collaborative yourself. And I want to give you 3 quick hitters here. First, be a steward of the sacred. Be a steward of the sacred. This is a phrase we picked up from a pastor friend in Portland. But this has to do with the work itself. It's a liberating idea. It's the smashing of dualism. It's saying that there is no secular sacred divide, that whatever you do, whether you are in the marketplace today or you are in the nonprofit, or if you're at a school, if you're a government worker, if you're in a church, the work you do is sacred work. And you don't own that work, but you are given that work. It's that Ephesians 2:10 that you were created to do good works, and God has prepared those for you to walk in, and whatever sphere you're walking in, you're going to walk that out. And it's just a liberating idea. It's not what you do necessarily to serve within your church, though that is of utmost and incredible value, but it's what you're doing every day of the week as you take care of that which God has put in your hands. Everybody with me on that? Second thing, be secure in your soul. Be secure in your soul, your interior life. Jesus said in John 15, remain in me. Remain in me. And this means that you would have identity in your faith and in your relationship with Jesus more than in your work, okay? Now, I want to say, too, in the world of men, where we work, we're so given to our work, and work is knit into us. We were created to work and do good work. But for men that I work with so often, their value is in their work. And they have an insecurity in their soul because they've identified with that work more than they've identified with the God who gave them that work, okay? And so just do a heart check and a gut check and say, you know, one of the things that I need to do to lose my fear, to lose my anxiety, to be able to co-labor with others, to collaborate with others, is I've got to let go of this idea that this work that I have defines me. God defines you and gives you that work to walk and be secure in your soul. And the final thing is to be a servant on the king's business. This is your mindset or your posture. It's that Colossians 3, do your work to the Lord rather than to others that are around you, because it's the Lord Christ whom you serve. He will give you the reward. You're a representative where you're placed. And whatever that work that you're doing, you're on the king's business. In the world of media, in the world of business, at the school, in the nonprofit, at the thrift store, you know, this is the king's business. And that makes meaningful all the work that we do. And when you have those things, you have that sense of security, that sense of being, that sense of meaning, that sense of being a steward. You're going to have a personal strength that you can bring into your organization. And that's the second thing, is basically being able to collaborate with others, means knowing about your own organization. Every year it's published, and some of you look at this, the best workplaces in America. You know, my question to you is, what would your organization need to do to get listed as one of the best workplaces in America? What organizational value do you have? Because when you're going to co-labor with others, you don't want to just look at the other organizations that you're going to co-labor with and say, what can she do for me? What can he do for me? What can that organization do for me or for the goal? But to say, what value am I bringing to the collaborative? What value organizationally are we bringing to the collaborative? So it's a check in saying, what is the clear vision we have to the horizon? Where is this organization headed? And what does it look like when it's done? So ACTS, Advancing City Transformation Strategies, our beginning point is prayer as part of gospel movement. Our ending point is to be able to have gospel communities that are touching every human being in the greater Sacramento region, 2.3 million people. That's our end game. I mean, the dream that I have is I want to wake up in Folsom, 75,000 souls. I want to wake up next to my wife Heather one day and look over at her, and she looks at me, and we know in our mind and our heart there's not a single person or household in that city of Folsom that doesn't know that God exists, that God created them to live in a relationship with him, that you come to a relationship with God through Christ, and that changes everything personally in your household and in our communities, right? That's the end game. That's the passion. That's the horizon. Everything we do then makes sense if we keep that in front of us. For your organization, what is that? What's driving that organization? And then what are you doing to get there? That's the second point, is being able to do a few things excellently. A great organization is doing a few things excellently. What do you bring to that collaborative? What are your core competencies? And it's great to do just a few things well. I'm thinking of Mustard Seed School. It's a school for homeless children on 16th and C in Sacramento. They have a one driving vision, and that is to give a season of stability and welcome and health for these children who've been bouncing all over the place, to be able to come and have their needs met, know they're loved, and be able to love learning together. The last point there is to treat your staff and volunteers well. To treat your staff and volunteers well. Retention. How many people are staying within your organization over a period of time? When you have that, you have organizational value. I was just at a lunch in a home for women who are being rescued or taken out of sex trafficking and come to a place of healing called Courage House. Courage House has had its ups and downs financially. They were not able to pay their staff for 2 months out of this last year, but they did not lose one staff person. They're committed to that vision that's on the horizon. They're doing a few things excellently. And I will tell you that the leaders of that treat their staff and volunteers so well that the fringe benefit of working on this incredibly important mission supervened even money. That's remarkable, remarkable. All right, as we close, and we're going to throw some things back out to you for Q&A, and I'll be available afterward, is how do you collaborate? Building your collaborative. 7 quick hitters. Be ready to drink a lot of coffee or other beverages. That's the connect part. You need to be able to sit across from people. Second, talk about what hasn't happened. Focus on what hasn't happened yet. I talked about Folsom, 75,000 souls in Folsom, 9,000 regularly engaged in worship on the weekends. So when I work with churches there, even if we double that number to 18,000, because 9,000 people are driving out of the city to other churches, probably not happening, but even if we do that, you have over 50,000 people unengaged with the Christian community. Third, go with the goers. You'll wait forever if you don't start. You know, if you have 1 person, 2 people, you have a collaborative. Go. You can't wait forever. Go with the pioneers. Fourth, be ready to go slower than you want to. It's easy to go by yourself. It's quick to go by yourself. But to work together as a team, to work as a collaborative, it's going to take time. But stick with it. It's worth it. Establish goals and benchmarks. Where do you want to end up, and what are some steps along the way so this group can measure its effectiveness? Business people nod. Measuring effectiveness, outcome-based orientation, right? Find an appropriate meeting rhythm, number 6. Find an appropriate meeting rhythm. Is it too much, too little, or just right? We all are busy. Don't schedule too many meetings. But don't be under the illusion that you can have too few. You have to find a rhythm that keeps this collaborative moving ahead together. And lastly, pray. Paul said to the Philippian church, don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, with prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, make your requests known to God. And the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will guard your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. If you personally are praying, and those in your collaborative who are followers of Christ are praying together, anxiety will wash away. You'll move ahead, and you'll reach a much greater goal than what you're pursuing. If you have any questions for me, then I will be available back at this table. I'm here as well as Tammy. I want to just, if you could stand up just for a moment, Tammy. Tammy Vallejo runs a nonprofit called E49 Corporation, which manages a co-working, co-serving space called Suite 210 in Sacramento. That concept of having a collaborative space to work is also very important. And there's going to be the opening of one here in Modesto as well. So you might want to talk to Tammy. She's on the core team of Acts Group. We have several table questions for you, and Marvin's going to share about that.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jeff.
Marvin.
Good job, man. To give some context as well, we have tasked, there's some incredible things happening in our city. We tasked Jeff this morning to continue to accelerate for Modesto what's already happening here. I do want you to know, you probably know this already, but it's going to take us 10 or 15 years to transform and make a difference in our city so that in our city we become a collaborative community. And in our community, which tends to be, for the most part, those of us of people of faith, or what we do is rooted in our faith, I want you to know that at times we have been real slow. We've been slow to come alongside and say, what can we partner with in the city together, the county, the government? For whatever the reasons there are, and there's positive and negative ones, and I don't want to get into that, other than to say, we're going to continue to accelerate what it means for those of us who live by our faith to engage ourselves in relationships and trust relationships. And that's surely what City Ministries and Network is about. It's about the 10 minutes before we start the talking up here. It's the 20 minutes afterwards or 45 minutes. But I want you to know as we go on, and we've tasked Jeff this morning to say to you, here's some incredible things happening in Sacramento. Here's some things that we're learning. Together, let's do that here. And those of us who do what we do because of our faith, and everything we do, for me, I know is rooted in my faith, is because of we've got to do this together. And I can tell you that as a man who reads his Bible often, almost said every day, but I won't tell you that, often, I want you to know that these things fall at the feet of the church. And we should be the ones, this is just for me, I know some of you don't like the word should. I definitely want to be a part of being at the feet with Marianne over the foundation when it comes to partnering and collaborating, whether it's Christine over at SCO and every other place and other organizations. And so I know you all have that heart too. So I want to put some context to this because some of you would come and say, well, collaboration, where's it in the Bible? And so we've asked Jeff to tell you, it's in the Bible. So that should be an impetus for us, okay? Questions? Josh, you guys put those on the board. There they are. We'll see in a few minutes. Pick one of the questions you want to talk around the table. Talk about all of them. One of you, if you could just go ahead, take the initiative, and all of you are leaders and leaders of leaders. Take one of the questions, jump right in there, and we'll see in a few minutes.